The Los Angeles Dodgers just don't stop. After winning back-to-back World Series titles, you'd think that maybe they might finally take a breath. But nope. The latest reports that are coming out right now are saying that the Dodgers are gearing up to spend big again. And honestly, it might get ugly for the rest of the MLB. Well, folks, the LA Dodgers are back at it again. We have a ton of free agent rumors to go over today, but let's start with this one right here. Dodgers linked to Yankees pitcher in free agency. Who is that Yankees pitcher? It's Devin Williams. Fabian Ardea of The Athletic reports that there is mutual interest between the Dodgers and New York Yankees reliever Devin Williams. They traded for relievers at the deadline. They signed a bunch of relievers at the deadline. But hey, let's go out and let's get some more. And you know what? This might be the opportunity for LA to pounce on somebody like Devin Williams because honestly, he didn't have the best year, folks. Looking over at what he did in the Bronx, we're talking about an individual who had a WAR of -0.3, an ERA of 4.79, 62 innings pitched. There was a lot of discourse in New York that they didn't like Devin Williams. Well, you know what? LA heard that and they're thinking, okay, well, we will take Mr. Devin Williams because ultimately, even though he didn't have the best year, it's still Devin freaking Williams. He's got a career ERA of 2.45. And honestly, prior to this year that just transpired, a lot of people were looking at somebody like Devin Williams and thinking that this guy might be one of the best closers in baseball, one of the best relief pitchers in baseball. He goes over to New York, doesn't have his best stuff, but honestly, the expected numbers tell a very different story. Looking over at his Baseball Savant right here, I'm seeing a lot of red. I am seeing a lot of red with Mr. Devin Williams right now. And honestly, the expected ERA, it was great. Okay, now I know what he actually did in the field wasn't phenomenal, but he was expected to do a lot better. His expected batting average against top 4% in all of MLB, expected slugging against top 7% of MLB, and his expected ERA was at 3.09. Now, that isn't as good as some of his previous years because that previous season in 2024 was at 2.09, but still significantly better than where he actually finished at. So if you're the LA Dodgers right now, and if you're thinking to yourselves, you know what, getting another relief pitcher in here, because I mean, hey, always nice to have more, right? Even though you just won the World Series without Tanner Scott, without Alex Vesia. Also, thoughts and prayers go out to his family right there. But clearly, if you're the LA Dodgers, you want to go out, you want to get some more. Devin Williams might be the type of individual that you can go, bring into your squad, and then play for that upside. Because if you're LA, you don't necessarily need him to come in and be elite. You have the luxury of having other elites on your team, so you can buy him, and then you can play for the upside if he does turn out to be that upper echelon top tier closer that he was in years prior, then you just hit the freaking jackpot. But of course, folks, it doesn't stop there. It never does with the LA Dodgers. It really, really never does. Who is the other? Let me ask you here. Take a moment, pause the video. Who's the other free agent closer on the market right now who's really good? It's Edwin Diaz. Of course, it's Edwin Diaz, and of course, he's getting linked to LA. With those struggles and a down year, ESPN Jeff Passan believes the Dodgers could pursue a big-name closer. Now, the down year that he's talking about is Tanner Scott. Okay, so he's not talking about the Dodgers as a whole because obviously they won the World Series, but he's thinking that they could go out, they could pursue a big-time closer. We just were talking about Devin Williams. He brings up specifically New York Mets Edwin Diaz. Now, Edwin Diaz is just about as good as they come, everybody. He is also in that upper echelon conversation with Devin Williams, but the difference is he's coming off of an incredible year. 3 WAR, 1.63 ERA, 66.1 innings to his name, a whip well under 1. New York Mets did not have their best year ever. Edwin Diaz feels like the type of guy that's built for the big moments, feels like the type of guy that's built to go out and to win a ring, to win a championship. What better spot to do that than LA that just consistently wins rings at will these days, it feels like. I'm believing, truthfully, that with all these rumblings that are coming out right now, whether it be Devin Williams, whether it be Edwin Diaz, I know that the Dodgers' payroll is already through the roof, but that never seems to matter for them, right? They can consistently go out and pay these guys, and they'll make that money back. They actually made a crapload of money this past year, going to the World Series, winning the World Series, even though they have a ton of money already on the books. They want to keep this dynasty alive, as long as possible, bringing in somebody like Edwin Diaz or Devin Williams, both of whom have the upside of being the best closer in baseball, truly makes a lot of sense. And honestly, as a Toronto Blue Jays fan, as you can see in the back right there, scares the ever-living hell out of me because you still beat us and you didn't have one of these guys, and now you're looking at going out and getting one or maybe both of them. I could honestly see it happening just because it is LA. But of course, once again, folks, it doesn't stop there, all right? How about a bat? How about going out and bringing in somebody else? How about filling that hole of Tommy Edman, who, by the way, is going to be getting ankle surgery, okay? That could affect their offseason plans. Maybe they want to go out and maybe they want to address that area because we don't know how healthy Tommy Edman's going to be for next year. But what about Steven Kwan? That's the other name right now that's getting thrown around with the LA Dodgers. As reported by USA Today's Bob Nightingale, the Dodgers have expressed interest in acquiring Steven Kwan from the Guardians. The Guardians nearly traded him to the Dodgers at the trade deadline, and Los Angeles is expected to make another attempt. The price tag will be high, but the Dodgers certainly boast the prospect capital. Now, the one thing that I will say, okay? One thing I will say, as a Toronto Blue Jays fan, I obviously watched all of those World Series games very closely. I think that the LA Dodgers played a phenomenal series, but they were really top-heavy. They needed the historically good MVP-level performance from Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And when you compare those two offenses, Toronto to LA, truthfully, Toronto's offense played a little bit better. They just were coming up with all the hits. Their batting average was significantly higher than the LA Dodgers. So what should LA do now? They still won the World Series anyways, but how would they tackle that problem? How about you go out and how about you get one of the better individuals in baseball when it comes to getting on base, hitting for average? How about you go out and you get somebody like a Steven Kwan? The guy in the terms of his career has a batting average of 281, an on base of 351, runs the bases extremely well, and also can play outfield, all right? He played predominantly in the outfield this past year for the Cleveland Guardians. And what was it that Tommy Edman did? Played a lot of outfield. So if you're LA right now and you're thinking, okay, we already have the pop. We got the pop of Shohei Ohtani. We got the pop of Teoscar Hernandez. They just picked up Max Muncy's thing for, I believe it was $10 million, right? So we have home run power. We got the home run juice. What if we go out and we get somebody that specializes in getting on base, running the base paths well, and then also playing defense? That's what Steven Kwan provides, dude. And honestly, if I was to criticize their roster construction, that might be like the one tiny baby area where they don't have the best of the best. But Kwan is kind of the best of the best when it comes to that. And honestly, they have the prospect capital to be able to go out and to make a trade. They were at the finish line at the trade deadline. Might as well just push it across. But of course, it doesn't end there. How about the biggest free agent on the freaking market? Dodgers named one of three potential fits for potential $400 million free agent. If they go out and get this guy, my brain's going to explode. My brain's actually going to explode, folks. How could you have Ohtani and Freeman and Betts and Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Teo, and then also all of these guys under contract, big contracts, by the way, and that's just to name a few, and then also go out and pick up Kyle Tucker? That's, of course, who we're referring to right now, okay? They are one of three teams. It is the Yankees, it is the Blue Jays, and it is the Dodgers. And MLB GMs predict that Kyle Tucker will sign with one of these three. It's becoming I don't want to say common knowledge because that just assumes that it is 100% going to happen, and there's always a chance, but it feels like he's one and done with the Chicago Cubs. He's not going to be going back there, and if I'm somebody like Kyle Tucker, he's already tasted a ring before, very, very talented baseball player, looking to make $400+ million. I'm looking at probably the 3 best teams that have the best chances of going to the World Series. Blue Jays just went there. They got Vladdy locked down for time, and they are looking very strong. LA is in the dynasty of dynasties, and New York is always very good. So those are clearly going to be his landing spots, and MLGMs predict that that is where he's going to end up. If LA brings in somebody like Kyle freaking Tucker, who had an OPS plus last year of 143, an OPS of 841, had 91 runs scored, 73 ribbies, 25 stolen bases, and had a down year. Okay, he did all that stuff while having a down year. I mean, that would just be crazy. That's the only way that I could possibly describe it, right? Because then you look over at this roster, and let's consider all the rumors that we've talked about here today, okay? They're looking to going out, bringing in a top-end closer, again, on top of the top-end closers that they already have, but they're looking at getting one of those guys. They're looking at potentially making a trade for somebody like a Steven Kwan, and then they're also looking at bringing in Kyle Tucker. Just imagine, for instance, what this lineup would look like if, let's just say you get one of Steven Kwan or Kyle Tucker, and you slot them in here somewhere. Where do you even bat them? Like, seriously, like, is it in the top 3? Do you mix up the top 3 of Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman? Will Smith is phenomenal. Do you put him ahead of that? Where do you even bat him? This 9 guys here, it would be the most complete baseball lineup I think I've ever seen if you go out and you bring in somebody like that. And then you look over at that bullpen right here. You're still going to have Roki. We'll see what they decide to do with him, right? Are they going to transition him into that starter as he's anticipated of being, or do they want to keep him in that closer role because he was pretty bloody good at that closer role in the playoff run, right? What do they want to do there? But you got Roki. You're going to have Tanner Scott. You're anticipating the bounce back from him. Alex Vesia is still there. Like, I mean, there's names upon names upon names. And then just picture you throw in one of or both of Devin Williams and Edwin Diaz. It's already a super team. It's already a dynasty, but the LA Dodgers are content. I just don't know where all the money comes from. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, as an outsider looking in right here, I'm thinking to myself, well, eventually their money has got to run out. It's not running out. It's still going. And I guess if they just keep winning World Series, then they're going to keep making money, and they are going to keep reinvesting in their team. And it looks like we are in for another insane LA Dodgers offseason, folks. But everyone, let me know your thoughts about all this in the comments down below. Hit that like, smash that subscribe button, and we'll catch you next time.